February 17th. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was for the strip mall.
Have the roll.
Belzak.
Here.
Gustafson.
Here.
Kenny.
Here.
Legansky.
Here.
Shower.
Here.
Stompanato.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
7 present.
We have a quorum. Takes us to questions and comments and announcements of a general nature. This is on our agenda for anyone who has anything to say to the city council that is not on our agenda tonight. Some issue that maybe you feel you'd like to address us on. If not, we'll move on. Approval of the minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes tonight. The first set of minutes, the Darien Park District Board of Commissioners and the City of Darien Committee of the Whole meeting, which took place on January 12, 2026. Motion to approve, Alderman Stompanato, second by Alderman Belzak. Any questions or comments regarding those minutes, excuse me? None, the roll.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Shower.
Abstain.
Sullivan.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 abstention.
Those minutes have been approved. The next set of minutes are the February 2nd, 2026 City Council meeting. I need a motion to approve. Alderman Gustafson, second by Alderman Kenny. Again, any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Belzak.
Abstain.
Sullivan.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 abstain.
The minutes have been approved. Takes us to receiving of communications. Do any of the aldermen have communications they'd like to share with the council?
I've been having a constant communication with Mr. Serwick, I'm messing the name up, on Walden regarding lights going into his backyard from the neighbors across the park. We've talked to Ryan regarding ordinances and stuff, and it's really a hard thing to go through. You got anything you would like to share with that?
I'll
Dan?
double check. I heard some rumblings about it, but I wasn't sure to what point.
Sumail, I think it's the gentleman's name.
And
Okay.
I'm not sure what the exact issue is, but if is it glare or is
It's
it
glare,
correct?
it's glare, and it at one point, sometimes it's, he thought when he first approached me about it, to have the city do something, I encouraged him to go talk to neighbor, to, see if they can come up to some kind of agreement. And then for a while it was good, and then there was like a timer, I guess, but then now it's all through the night to get a motion sensor or something. The lights shine into the children's room and they can't sleep, so that's.
What we could do is conduct a photometric study, and with that photometric study, obviously it's done at night, and we need the resident's permission basically to enter his yard to determine whether or not it's above the photometric level.
Okay.
I'll check with Ryan, see what the status on that is. Get back to
Alderman
you.
Gustafson?
Yeah, I've had numerous conversations with residents and Dan regarding the 75th Street property development, and that's on the agenda for the planning and zoning meeting tomorrow night.
Okay.
Yeah, just some of the issues that's Alderman Gustafson is worried about is the fence, for example. Correct me if I'm wrong, also Alderman, the fence that the residents do not want the fence there.
Correct.
Again, that's support that staff is gonna support, just so the city council recalls. We had a similar issue with the dentist on 75th Street and a prior resident. Again, it's a matter of policing, it is in the ordinance, so again, we'll let it run its process through the commission and the committee as well as city council. And I think some of the other issues were just the minor issues, spotlights shining at
Yes,
the back.
spotlight shining in the back,
Yeah, and again, that's something. to do with
location of the
photometrics.
dumpster, to put the dumpster a little bit closer to the building, making sure that there's no work being done outside of the building, out into the parking lot. and those kind of general things. But the overall development, they're extreme, and I've explained this to them multiple times, they're extremely fortunate to have the type of development going in there because it's 8 to 5, no weekends. They have, and it's all in an enclosed building. They only have 6 to 7 employees working there. They have one dock door in the back that faces the homes, but they only have 5 or 6 deliveries per month that come out of that place. So it's a very low volume type of business that's there. So if you want something to live next to something, this is the thing to live next to. And I'm within 200 feet from the development also, so I'm real close to it.
And Alderman Gustafson, just the other point was regulating the hours, 8 to 5. That's
You're
something
right.
that we can't do.
That's what
and
they
we're-
do now. And I went over they have a facility over in Willowbrook. I went over there and talked to a couple of the people that work there. And yeah, they verified, it's only 8 to 5.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying is we can't condition that. I mean,
No,
things
no,
change.
I understand.
Yes,
And things could change.
right.
For those in the audience who might be wondering where this is at, if you're going down 75th Street, there's Darien Town Center 2, there's the Jimmy John's and the Massage Envy. Then there's a lot, and then there's Haroldson, the auto body shop. It's the lot that's in between the two of those that we're talking about.
And he was a former business resident, he's a resident of Darien as well, and he had a former business on 83rd Street, but he outgrew it, and there was no space in Darien at the time, so he's looking forward to coming back in.
Yeah, he personally will not be there. He's just had some major back surgery done, and I know how that is. I've had 2 major back surgeries. And he won't be there, but his general contractor and his wife are both going to be there at the meeting.
And it's for tomorrow night, residents that are interested, it's
Correct.
it's across the way here at the police department, I believe it's
Right.
7:00, correct, Eric?
That's correct, 7:00.
Anything else? Anyone else?
Thank you.
All right, that takes us to the mayor's report. I have 2 proclamations tonight. And the first one I'm gonna read is on Arbor Day. So I'll proceed with that. Whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lowering our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. Whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. Whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas the City of Darien and Arbor Day Volunteer Group continue to produce continuous Arbor Day celebrations in the City of Darien, which have beautified our parks and parkways, remembering our loved ones, and educated our school children, promoting canopy cover. And whereas the celebration for Arbor Day is to be held April 24th, 2026 in the Darien Parks and at the Hinsdale South High School, commemorating the lives of Darien residents and contributors. Now therefore, I, Joseph Marquez, Mayor of the City of Darien, do hereby proclaim that April 24, 2026 is Arbor Day in the City of Darien. Is there anyone here to receive this proclamation tonight? This may sound a bit early. I know it's April, but there's a reason why we do this tonight. Mr. Gumbeck?
Yes, this is all part of that grant process, so we're making sure that we follow the protocols that were assigned to us. So there's another presentation I will be presenting next city council meeting in regards to the tree inventory management. So that'll be coming up as a PowerPoint presentation. Next city council will be about 5-10 minutes,
Okay.
educational only.
It's my honor to be able to read our proclamation honoring our 2026
It's a resolution. It's a resolution.
resolution. Thank you, Joanne. 2026 Citizen of the Year. We're very fortunate in Darien to have outstanding individuals who give of themselves without looking for any kind of reward. And those are usually the people that we find receiving this kind of recognition. So tonight, we're very happy to be able to read a resolution honoring Deborah Ular as our 2026 Citizen of the Year. This is quite lengthy, so bear with me. Whereas Deborah and her husband George raised their family in Darien, they had 3 children, Rachel, Abigail, and Eric. They all attended District 61 schools. Whereas Deborah worked for District 61 as a teacher's aide, she was instrumental in coordinating the annual art fair, a district highlight event that was interrupted by COVID. And whereas the family has participated in the Darien Park District programs, they were heavily involved in the Darien Youth Club. Whereas Darien is not just where Deborah lives, is where she has poured her heart, her time, and her values into the fabric of the community. The extent of Deborah's activities go beyond the city, making her not only a shining star in Darien, but surrounding communities as well. Deborah is not only noted for the remarkable longevity of her volunteer service, but for her selfless, generous, and immediate response to any person or organization in need. She always focuses on improving the well-being and quality of life for others. Volunteering is not something Deborah seeks for recognition for. It is simply part of who she is. And whereas Deborah's volunteer service includes 10+ years with the Girl Scouts as a chaperone and adult volunteer for all activities, and 25 years with Meals on Wheels, delivering meals to the elderly and homebound residents, very often serving as the only vital point of human connection with the recipient. Deborah often brought her young children with her while delivering Meals on Wheels. In doing so, she modeled the importance of service and instilled these values in the next generation. And whereas since 2023, Deborah has been an active transportation provider for CARS, community-assisted rides for seniors. She has served as docent and greeter for more than 5 years with the Chicago Architectural Society Open House event. Deborah has assisted the American Cancer Society by providing transportation for seniors to and from medical appointments. As an employee at Mercy Hospital, she was a volunteer for more than 15 years by delivering food baskets to seniors during the Christmas season. And in conjunction with Syracuse University, she represented the university at local high schools on college nights. And whereas Deborah is and continues to be an active member of the Darien Women's Club, Deborah was an organizer and manager of the clothing resale event for 10 years, the signature community service for many years. Deborah's responsibilities included securing a location, coordinating vendors, scheduling volunteers, and managing finances. Her husband George and son Eric regularly assisted with labor-intensive setup and teardown of clothing racks. Unfortunately, COVID ended this tremendous service to the community. Deborah also headed up the club's environmental committee, promoting local environmental initiatives. She personally collects and delivers recyclable materials to local recycling centers. And whereas outside of Darien, Deborah volunteers at the Little Store at Burgess Square. She is assisted with shopping and store operations. She is a regular at Darien Fest, checking IDs and selling tickets in collaboration with the Darien Lions Club. In the last 2 years, Deborah participated in Darien's Trunk or Treat citywide event, decorating vehicles and distributing candy. We can thank her for volunteering for the IDOT Highway Cleanup Group, keeping roadways clean. This list showcases not only the remarkable diversity of Deborah's volunteer service, but also the extraordinary depth and longevity of her commitment. Whereas not fully captured in the list of volunteer roles is Deborah's readiness to step in whenever it needed to help. Deborah's volunteer work is deeply personal, giving her time to truly be seen as giving her time to many as she may be the only outside contact. Making people feel comfortable, truly seen as a rare gift. This unwavering compassion, combined with decades of dedicated service, has made profound and lasting difference in the well-being, dignity, and daily lives of countless individuals. Whereas through countless acts of kindness, both acknowledged and silent, Deborah has helped create a culture of care, generosity, and connection. Her spirit of service has strengthened the community and help make Darien not just a nice place to live, but a place where people truly look out for one another. And whereas when Deborah finds time, she enjoys Darien Park District Zumba classes, company of her book club friends, and just walking the area. And whereas Deborah and George also enjoy traveling in northern Wisconsin, and whereas Deborah's service is profoundly personal, she gives her time face-to-face, one person at a time, offering presence, kindness, and dignity to those she serves. She willingly rearranges her life to honor the commitment she makes, always giving more than is asked, and doing so with genuine joy. Through her selflessness, consistency, and quiet leadership, Deborah has made a lasting difference in countless lives and has strengthened the very fabric of the Darien community. And whereas the heart of a volunteer is not measured in size, but by the depth of commitment to make a difference in the lives of others, whereas Deborah Eular's tireless commitment, efforts, and positive influence makes her an exemplary choice for this prestigious recognition. And whereas Deborah is and will continue to be one of the many shining stars in Darien, making Darien a nice place to live. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Darien, DuPage County, Illinois, that Deborah Eular be hereby designated the 2026 Citizen of the Year for the City of Darien in recognition of her many years of dedicated service to the City of Darien and its residents. Do we do a motion?
Yes.
Motion to approve. Mary Sullivan, seconded by Alderman Belzak, and the roll.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Stampanato.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Leganski.
Aye.
Mayor Marquez.
Aye.
Clerk Rigona. Aye. Treasurer Corrin.
Aye.
Attorney Murphy.
Aye.
Administrator Vanna.
Aye.
12 ayes.
You've been approved, Deborah. Deborah, I'm going to give you a couple things tonight, which you're going to immediately give back to me. We saved this for your party. We got a picture right now.
I'm the unofficial photographer of the City of Darien. I have a very high rate.
This is the proclamation that I just read. You'll get this the night of your banquet.
That was a long proclamation.
Oh, believe me.
Well, you've done a lot.
You and Mr. Gombeck provided a lot of speaking time for me. But he gives me his agendas. This is your plaque.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do one this way. Awesome. Now let other people. Can I see it?
You can see it. This will be given to you permanently.
One more, look over here. Sorry.
Want to say a few
Got a
words?
clean pail.
Yeah, thank you.
Very few words to say. I have to say that this recognition was a complete surprise and pretty incredible. And I get real emotional, so. Many thanks to the mayor, city council, alderpersons, and the selection committee for this honor, particularly Bonnie Kucera, who keeps trying to convince me that I actually deserve this recognition. And who is leading me step by step through the process. Much appreciation also goes to my longtime friend, Jane Ross, who submitted the nomination. Maybe I shouldn't be grateful for that. Without her time and considerable writing skills, I wouldn't be here. Finally, I want to congratulate all the other club members who are here, Marion, not too many others, for their own very well-deserved recognition. Hoping to see all of you at the banquet on March 6th, where we can continue the celebration. It may not be as entertaining as the amazing Dancing with the Stars weeks ago, but we'll do our best.
Much too kind.
You look completely different.
It was a fun night. We had a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Looking forward to.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Several years ago, we added another component to our Citizen of the Year banquet. Darien has wonderful organizations, the Women's Club, the Lions Club, the Rotary, the Garden Club, the list goes on. And what we decided to do is, each one of those organizations usually honors someone as their Woman of the Year, Lion of the Year, Rotarian of the Year. So what we decided to do is to add that component to our celebration. So on the night of the banquet, where we're honoring Deb, we're gonna be honoring James Burke, who is the nominee from the Darien Business Alliance, Dave DeCure from the Darien Garden Club, I don't believe, is Dave here tonight? Mike Falco from the Darien Lions Club, Pastor Eli Voigt from the Darien Rotary Club, Marion Krupik, and she's here. Marion, want to stand? Mike Geringer from the Darien Youth Club. These are all people who were selected by their organizations as people who, during the course of the year, made outstanding contributions to their organization. You know, you go out in the hallway there and you look at those pictures, and there's 50-something people on the wall out there. A lot of them are founding fathers and mothers of the city of Darien. I have the privilege of chairing the committee that Bonnie runs back in 1989, 90, and 91. And I oftentimes look at the list and I see that was Ed Colby, Mickey Pankow, and Ira Brussoff. And I think about the contributions that they made to the city of Darien. Deb, you're part of that now. This is really quite an honor. And I don't know how many communities actually look for someone to recognize, but Darien appreciates the efforts made by its volunteer groups, and it especially appreciates people like yourself who give of themselves. You know, a lot of people who, when the committee goes to the House to tell you you won, you were their selection, a lot of them say, "Can I say no?" And we always say, "No, you can't say no." I also want to thank George, because you do what you do because you have a partner in life who works and encourages you at the same time. In a marriage, it takes two people to be successful, and I know that George is in order for you to do everything. And all I know, Deb, is I have a lot of styrofoam in the garage right now. And I told Kathy, bring it to Deb Euler's house. But many thanks to you, George, for your support, to your wife. Many thanks to the Women's Club for the support and acknowledgement of Marion as well as Deb as a Citizen of the Year. We appreciate that. So again, congratulations.
So much.
Yeah, and since we're on the Citizen of the Year celebration and also honoring the other amazing residents of Darien who serve in our volunteer communities, just a reminder that the dinner dance honoring all these amazing individuals will be Friday, March 6th at Alpine Banquets. Cocktails start at 6 p.m., dinner is at 7. It is $52 a person, and it has a full 7-course family-style meal with 3 hours of open bar, music, and dancing, and lots of celebrating. Please make your reservations by contacting Diane at City Hall, 630-353-8102. It's really important that you specify your name and who else might be attending with you, and if there's individuals you want to be seated with. Cash and checks payable to the city of Darien can be used to secure your reservation. You can drop them off during business hours or put them in the drop box in the vestibule that is open. But please be sure to secure your reservation by Thursday, February 26th, and we look forward to an amazing evening at Alpine Banquet celebrating our citizens of Darien.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Well, we're going to continue now with the rest of our meeting. If you guys would like to leave, you're welcome to leave. We'll give you a few minutes.
It's nice that
Yeah.
ladies come. Mrs. Marquez. I saw Mrs. Marquez,
She always attends these.
past Citizen of the Year.
Okay, we'll continue with our city clerk's report. Joanne?
No report this evening, Mayor.
City administrator's report. Brian's going to cover the general fund summary and the general fund revenue. Brian?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We've done this a couple times in the past. We happen to have a light agenda, so we thought it would be a good idea to at least get a little jump on things tonight, focus on the general fund summary, which is, for me, always one of the more important pages. It lists all the revenues, expenses, and importantly, the ending fund balance for each year. And then we can get into the review of the specific and individual general fund revenue line items. So the top page I handed out, again, this is the same format as we've had for a long, long time. We look at the actual numbers in '25, what was budgeted this year, and where we think we'll end up. Obviously, every budget we've ever had, we don't end up exactly where we say we're gonna do. Something costs a little more, a little less, we might have a little better sales tax than we thought we would have or estimated. So, again, the important column to me is if you go third from the left, that is the fiscal year '26 estimated actual. That's where the staff has looked at all our expenses and all our revenues and made our best guess estimate of where we'll end up at the end of this fiscal year, just prior to May 1st. And you'll see the revenue, it did exceed the budget. Expenses were lower than we budgeted. And again, you'll see as we go through the budget, the expenses in the different departments, sometimes the expenditures are lower because we have to carry a project over also. I mean, we do a good job of keeping the expenses low, going to bid and getting things, but there are projects that just, we think will get done in the fiscal year and they won't, and they're carried over. And again, you'll see more of this. So at the bottom of that column, the ending fund balance is estimated to be about 6.5 million. And what I always shoot for in this fund is about 3 months ending balance of about 4.5 million. So when that balance is larger than that number, we have the ability then to work that into the next year's budget, and with the goal of transferring money to the capital projects. And that's the primary source of funding for our larger capital projects is excess surplus from this general fund summary. So going into the budget that we'll be proposing and talking about starting tomorrow, after revenues and expenses, we are thinking about 4.5 million, and that number carries out through the 3 years as part of the forecast. Again, that's, for me, this is one of the more important sheets. It certainly is not all the detail, but it gives the big picture of where we should end up. And as everybody knows, we have a 1-year budget and then we go out 2 years for estimates. I've always thought that that was a reasonable amount of time. There's no right or wrong. You can go out 5 years, 10 years, but the longer you go out for estimates, the less reliable it is. And I think the 3 years have worked well for us for a number of years that since that was instituted. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the general fund summary overview if you have any, or if any Mike comments or anybody else wants to add anything. Mike will probably say this, but it just caught my attention, Mike. You will see the transfer to the capital projects fund in this upcoming budget year is 2.65 million. And that's a good number. And again, once the audit is done this year, if there is excess over the operating revenue of 4.5 million, we would also make a mid-year transfer. But as you do see going out to years 28 and 29, that transfer to the capital projects fund is significantly less. But that is nothing to be alarmed about, because when we get to the capital projects fund, you'll see even with those reduced transfers, we estimate to carry balances in the capital projects fund in year 28 of about 18 million, and in year 29 of about 15 million. So, we've been working at that, and that's a goal, to keep those balances in there sufficient for projects at least through 3 years. And with the fund balance at the end of 3 years at 15 million, that is a pretty good number, if should we end up exactly there, to fund another 3 years of capital projects. And again, it always hasn't looked that nice in the third year of the general fund. But, Mike, I'm sorry. if you have-
I've trained you well. You've done my Sermon of the Mount for me,
Well-
as I always called it at the beginning.
Yes.
No, I think you've done a good summary. I think you and your staff have
Yes.
put in a lot of effort into this, so I compliment you on all of that. The other thing that I think it's important to highlight, the numbers that you've put together do reflect no increase in the real estate taxes for all 3 years. So even these numbers are reflecting no real estate tax increase. The other thing that we've talked about individually a little bit is there are other sources of revenue if we need to generate other sources of revenue outside of the real estate tax area. So we're pretty comfortable with that and hope the residents also recognize that and appreciate that. I know when you get your tax bill, it's, oh my God, what has Darien done to me? If you look at the share of taxes from the city of Darien and compare them to everybody else's, ours have been flat. We haven't raised them since 2009, and we don't get any credit for that. A lot of the other taxing districts have raised them, and when you see your tax bill, I think it's important to notice that and sort of give kudos to what the staff here and the elected officials have been able to accomplish over a lot of years, and so I think that's important to recognize. There's a couple of little minor things we
Can I add, just so I don't get lost in your comments? This particular year, and the council's aware that the tax levy and budget timeframes aren't really in sync. You have to levy taxes much earlier than the budget. So as part of this budget for this year, the council did levy additional money. But like last year, once we get into budget discussions, I anticipate there would be that tax abatement ordinance. And that's why that would bring that levy down to the 2.5. And in this budget, and I believe the one previous, we did show the actual increase in years 2 and 3 to meet the police pension fund. And we had a discussion at Admin Finance Committee, and considering the sufficient balances in the capital projects fund, we thought it would make sense to just show that 3-year property tax freeze all in our 3-year projection. More conservative.
Yeah, and I think it is important what you bring out. I mean, our contribution to the police pension fund in the coming year is approximately $3.1 million. Yet the total real estate taxes we're projecting to collect are about $2.5 million, which means that we've got to take part of our other taxes, whether it's sales tax or other revenue that we're generating, and use those for our contribution. And that contribution's anticipated to go up because it does have to be 90% funded by 2040. So that number will continue increasing, but we've been pretty fortunate, I think, like you say, from good management. We've been able to stay on track and not have to raise any taxes or really anything else right now.
And Mike, I think we've spent at least a couple of years, and that's one of the reasons, continued to levy for what we thought might be the full pension, because there was a lot of concern about what that number's gonna be, should there be changes in the state law? And, the mayor and I talked, and, I didn't want to budget in fear of that going up either. It just, it doesn't hoard money, but it obviously, as you could see, not worrying about that at this point changes the picture to where you could have a 3-year budget that shows no property tax increase for the city. So I did a budget this year, and we did without worrying about that, as we talked about in the past.
Yeah, we can't project what Springfield's gonna do to us, unfortunately.
What we should do is
In terms of revenue, Bill?
Yeah, if there's, the format of the revenue page falls along the same lines in terms of the first year is the actual from last fiscal year. And we go through what we, what we're projecting to end this year and then for the next 3 years. And, it's no secret, we take a very conservative approach to our revenue. We don't know what our sales tax is gonna be every month. We do pretty good at estimating, but certainly do not want to estimate high and find out we've had some short months. That's, I think, one of the reasons we are in the strong financial position we are, that we are able to transfer money every year when the audit is completed and finished. So that's been very helpful. And again, I won't reiterate all the numbers. One of the things that we are recommending, and we've done that in the past, I think in 2014-15, is what we call a building permit fee holiday. So it shows in the narrative, it doesn't necessarily show in the numbers. We've done that before where we will have a no fee for certain permits issued by the building department. Simple things like fences, roofs, and other things that we don't have outside costs on. It might be simply a permit going out for a fence, it's $50. And we did that before. I don't recall if it was for 2 or 3 years. And we figure that impact is fairly minimal, but certainly a nice gesture. I think we've done estimates that in previous years, we might not have collected maybe 20,000 that we would have collected otherwise. At some point, we did it as a way to kind of encourage residents to do some things and not worry about the permit fee, albeit relatively small. But we could talk more about that as we get into the community development budget, hopefully tomorrow. The Treasurer Corn has commented in the past about the local use tax and sales tax, how those, the formula for those have changed. And while you see sales tax going up very, very nicely and in a high percentage, we'll see the local use tax is dropping, the way the state has now done the formula. So when I'm looking at those, and when the council does, you kind of add those two together and compare them to the previous years to get an idea. And we're still coming out a bit ahead, but not the picture. It's not really 7.1 to 8 million because of that change. If you look over what we budgeted and where we'll end up, or estimate we'll end up this fiscal year. One of the things we have noted that is been reducing
Cable TV.
is the cable TV, yeah. As more people get away from the traditional cable, not necessarily phone or internet, because the tax is on really the cable portion of that, we are seeing those revenues drop, and you'll see those numbers drop accordingly. We do not have it, but there are some communities that are now taxing streaming services. So if you have cable and you're getting away from cable and have very basic or actually none, but you're streaming, the state allows municipalities to add, I believe it's up to 5% tax. We haven't not looked at that. We haven't calculated what that would mean. But I think things like that we're aware of, it's good to have available in our hip pocket should some of these projections we have here, come out off and they're not meeting the projections. Probably during COVID, that was probably the best example. We had a budget already, we had 3-year projects, and then COVID hit. So we actually had to take a year where we just did not do capital projects, and we had to really call an audible that year. So I don't anticipate that. Everything's very solid, but in case that were to happen, we've talked to the admin finance committee about maybe alternatives, just so they're out there. But again, we have not planned for any of those. The council's aware we did talk about a tax on our storage facilities. There's a storage unit tax that's available to municipalities. Not every town has it. Some in our neighborhood have it. And it would generate maybe $150,000 a year between our two facilities. And we've met on that a couple of times. And where we're at today is the admin finance committee concluded, and along with the staff and mayor, that we are looking to work with SureGuard Storage, and they have come up with a plan where they would install kind of a battery facility that will generate electrical power into the grid. It recharges at night, and there will be a surplus. There will be a benefit to that, and it'll make a little amount of money. And we have a review of that. We'll bring back to the council. First couple of years is probably 20,000. It's estimated that going up to 40 every year. So what we're thinking of, it's obviously a very good environmental project to do and work on with one of our business partners. We would forego that tax, and in lieu of that, we would get the revenue from this facility that they're looking to build with us. We don't have that agreement in writing yet, but we have talked about it with them as recently as last week. And they're really very excited as we are to come up with an agreement like that. That really is a win-win for both parties. And Mayor Marquez has been attending some more seminars and discussions lately on those types of facilities. And we'll see more of those, I think, over time.
Would something like that be available for the second storage facility also? Okay.
Well, we don't know, Mike, one of the storage facilities has been more active
Right.
in meeting with us, and they have actually done a study to where they'll show how that would fit on their property.
Right.
I have not yet talked to the other facility yet and have not even looked at that property. Because in theory, that could be any property. It doesn't have to be specifically
I'm just saying
storage.
though, we're working with this owner because he's saying this in lieu of that additional tax. So the other property owner essentially benefiting to that extent. So if we could get something similar from the other property owner, again, I'm not sure whether it fits.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
it would fit, it would be a way of generating that same
And that's a good
source
point.
of revenue,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, we could look at that, and we have not yet, but we certainly could. A lot of the storage facilities are in an association that gets involved kind of as a blanket association for all of those. And I'm sure we could probably talk to them too about this.
I'm on the environmental committee for Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, and one of the reports we just came about a couple of weeks ago was called the Resource Advocacy Program. And basically, the Illinois Power Association has estimated that by the year 2030, Illinois will not produce enough electricity to meet the needs of the state. And so there are actions being taken. And it was interesting because Brian and I'd already gone to Brian and said, I'd really like to do this project with Sureguard, in terms of the battery thing. And in the course of that meeting, Edith Macra, who is the environmental guru, brought up that one of the ways we're going to have to meet the resource adequacy need is to have programs like this where we're putting electricity back into the grid. And I mentioned to her that we're thinking of this in Darien, and she knew all about these programs. So obviously, this is something that's not new, it's out there. Communities are talking about doing it. It's just that we have an entity in Darien that's willing to work with us on it.
And I like that aspect of it because I know one of the other aspects they were looking at was having us do it on their property. And that I do not like. I don't think we as a city should be getting involved in that business. I think it's a great idea to let them manage it, set it up, and we benefit, they benefit. It's a win-win.
Yeah, that was the first discussion point, that we would do that, and we've gotten away from that, as you mentioned. Just the only other comment we have, and I did speak with Alderman Legansky about this, and Julie also was asking for kind of a profit and loss on the DBA activities, and that is actually the last revenue on the sheet on page 2. And I have in there now estimated about 60,000. I put that number in there before the council, you'll see tonight is authorizing the Memorial Day Carnival. It really did raise some funds for us last year, so I'll adjust that number. And again, we'll adjust all the numbers. We not all the numbers, but as new information comes in, we might make adjustments here or there if there's something that went up a couple bucks, we probably won't change it. But when we get into the DBA discussions next week, we'll have a good comparison so everybody could see, the events we're having and the costs and the revenue for those. And I would be happy
Right,
to
because the whole
answer.
point of having the DBA was by bringing it in-house, we thought at minimum it would break even, or we would.
We did when
That was always the.
Yeah, when that came in-house, we looked at that. Now, there's certain events like the concert series, that's not a break even, that's just something we're throwing for the community. But there are other things that make up revenue that hopefully will cover most of those events. And I would be happy to answer any questions on the revenue if you have them, and if you don't have any tonight, you can call me or send me emails. Yes, sir.
Hey, Brian, so, on a couple, like the business licenses, if you look at like actual between 24 and 25, is that just like a timing issue, you think, where
Yep.
24 was just lower and, but we average about the same? I mean,
We
is that-
started a new computer system for business license that year, and the timing was off on that a little bit, because it's been pretty consistent.
Right, and then with the cable TV going down, pretty steadily over the last couple of years, this, storage thing might be a good way to, offset what we're gonna be seeing. in terms of a decrease with that each year. I would think that's gonna
Yeah.
continue to go down.
Well, whether it's 20 or 40, that would go into our general fund, and it would go in, probably, it's a small enough that we would put under miscellaneous
Right.
revenue, and we would get that every year, and it'd just be part of the pie.
Right, and then like on line 30, is it the same thing in terms of the engineering fees? Where super low in 24, but then really big in 25? Did something change, or is that just a timing
No,
thing as well?
we have a couple different engineering fees. One is engineering fees in the revenue side that are reimbursable. So if we have a project going on and we have an expense with our engineer, Christopher Burke, and we get that reimbursed. So that is just dependent on, I guess, developments or reviews, things like that. And as we get to Dan's budget and community development,
Right.
you'll see we have a couple line items on expenses, and one is for the reimbursables, and the other is for expenses that are our expenses, like stormwater issues and that.
Yeah, and then we talked today too, like on the drug forfeiture receipts. I mean, it's tough that all the hard work our men do and women in the police department, that we've seen $99 back because of the slowness of the process, I was told, in terms of the court systems, and
Yeah,
it has to go back to the state before we actually get the money back.
yeah, there's the chief,
I mean,
Chief
like, do we know
Thompson,
like how much we're actually owed compared to what we're actually getting? Is that,
I'll let the chief address that, but there are also a few different, there's state funds, feds, but.
Using the state forfeiture funds, those we had exhausted for a while, now we've built those back up, but very few times do we do any kind of state seizure. The work involved and the money you get out of it's just not worth it for the most part. Federal forfeitures, a lot of those are in arrears. I think there's a 2015 case, there's quite a few from 2019, and then they get more as you go further along. So the cases are being made. The court system's running very slow to get those monies that have been seized as a forfeited.
And chief, looking out, do we know like how much we'll get over the next couple of years, or that we should get? There's no breakdown of that yet?
Well, there never would be, because until it goes to court and somebody makes the decision that there's $1 million that was
Okay.
seized, and Chicago's gonna get 50%, the DA is gonna be 12%, Darien's gonna get 6%. The next case, it's gonna be totally different breakdown. It would be impossible to figure
But
out.
once we do know a case, what's the time lag then to get that money? Is it,
Once it's been forfeited by the court,
yeah,
it's within a month.
okay.
Julie did indicate that there's quite a bit out there potentially.
Oh, yeah.
You said you don't know when you're gonna get it. The other thing, Jerry, just so you know, we're restricted in the use of those funds too.
Correct.
Generally.
yeah, I know that part, yeah, thank you, but, I mean, it's nice to see the year before 51 grand and $99, it's like a slap in the face.
We
you know?
spend a lot of money, so the federal forfeiture funds are probably down to about $7,000. But we bought all the body worn cameras, all the tasers, all the license plate recognition, the drones, cars. We bought a ton of stuff from those funds. So when you buy it from there, saves the having to budget for it, those type of things. And same thing with the other restricted funds as well.
But it can only be used once for that initial, correct? Because if it's
Right.
replacement or maintenance, then you're back out of your
And
pocket.
And that's why your, this year's, budget went up significantly, because 4 years ago, we bought the body worn cameras, the, license plate recognition and all those other things. So all those bills are now coming due into, and being budgeted against the budget.
Were we able to use forfeiture money on the drone car that we bought in the fall? I can't recall.
No, we used, cannabis funds. Any other questions for Brian?
Yeah, I had a couple, I didn't realize we were gonna be getting into specifics. Just two quick things, Brian. Under grants, projecting 105,000 for the current year. As of February 1st, we only had about 18,000 in there. We have something else big coming.
Yeah, the grant with the tree planting should be in soon, yeah.
And then the other thing was rents. We talked about that, I think, at our just at our quick little meeting.
Yep.
You're still projecting that number at about 234. I thought Julie said that our rental income's gonna be dropping since there was some consolidation.
Yes.
In some of the cell
Yeah.
towers.
This is, the budget we had printed and handed out, we had not made adjustments to that yet, but in our notes, or my notes, I have to make changes. That will be one of them that we'll have to take a look at still, yes.
Yeah, that's all I had.
All right, anything else? Okay, we'll move on to department head information and questions. Any questions for either Chief Thomas or Mr. Gunbeck? Anything you gentlemen want to add?
Not at this time.
Okay. With the treasurer's report, we have warrant number 252620, Treasurer Corn.
Talking too much tonight, should get paid by the word. Requesting council's approval of warrant number 252620 in the amount of $613,840.95 from the listed funds. Payroll for the period ended February 5th in the amount of $357,531 for a total to be approved of $971,371.95.
Motion to approve. Alderman Wozak, second by Alderman Kenny. Any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Belzak.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Shower. Gustafson.
Aye.
Leganski.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
7 ayes.
The warrant's been approved. Monthly report, Mike.
Revenue expenditure report for the 9 months ended January 31st reflects general fund year-to-date revenue of $16,225,407, expenses of $12,910,164, current balance $7,415,229, water and water depreciation fund year-to-date revenue $5,885,438, expenses of $6,571,354, current balance $2,524,151. Motor fuel tax fund year-to-date revenue $705,271, expenses $571,973, current balance $733,254, and capital improvement fund year-to-date revenue $776,732, expenses of $2,881,485, current balance $21,365,177.
Again, any questions for Treasurer Corn? I should have added this a couple of minutes ago. Being here every day, I have an opportunity to see the work of the staff and to participate in that work. Brian and I work real closely together, and when he starts this budget process, he's back like in November or October thinking about this already. And I don't know if everybody realizes this, but this is something that he really sees as a challenge. When we looked at that pension being 3.1 million contribution, that was a challenge for him because he knew that we wanted to abate. We didn't want to raise property taxes. And he does an outstanding job. I just wanted to say that. I'm part of the discussions with him, with Lisa, and my input is there. He does a wonderful job. And, I just want all of you to understand that and acknowledge that the reason we have this budget, the things that we are in financial condition the way we are, is not just for the work we do, but a lot of it is rests on his shoulders. So I really want to say thank you to him publicly for all the work he does on this budget.
Thank you, Mayor. And it is kind of a cliche, but it is definitely a teamwork. I mean, the staff, everybody works very hard on that. We come to really productive, professional city council meetings. Everybody doesn't agree and can have a really, really good discussion. That's important. You have to be able to have those discussions. And I think, Mayor, you said I start in November. Dan makes sure he starts about a month earlier than I do, so. It's everything ready. So, but I appreciate your comments now.
And Brian, the new refrigerator is coming
Yeah,
tomorrow.
probably is. Probably is.
All right,
Thank you, Mayor.
standing committee reports. Chairman, have anything? Alderman Belzak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next Municipal Services Committee meeting will be next Monday, February the 23rd at 6 PM in council chambers.
Thank you. Alderman Kenny?
Hey, Mr. Mayor, and I am gonna go back to communications earlier today. Like I said, I screwed up the name. Solomon, and I'll let Diane Noverini, and he lives on Emerson. The lights are shining in through from Walden. That's taking care of that. Police committee met this evening, and we passed the minutes, vote on the minutes for December 15th, 2015. They're over to the clerk's office. We meet again on Monday, March 16th, 6 o'clock, across the street in the police training room pending agenda items.
Mary?
Thank you. Just a reminder that the Administrative Finance Committee of the Whole, which is the entire city council, as we often refer to it as the budget meetings for fiscal year 2027, will start tomorrow evening, Wednesday, February 17th, in council chambers at 6:30, followed by a second meeting on Wednesday, February 25th, in council chambers at 6:30. If further discussion and conversation needs to happen, we will be doing that during the Monday, March 2nd city council meeting. And if needed, which I do not anticipate it being needed, Wednesday, March 4th would be the final meeting, because then a final draft distributed to the council and made public on our website would be by Friday, March 27th, with a public hearing and the city council approving a budget on Monday, April 6th.
Thank you, Mary. The Darien Action Committee will be meeting February 28th, I believe downstairs here at 9 o'clock in the morning. Mike?
The Darien Police Pension Fund will have their quarterly meeting for the December quarter next Thursday, February 26th at 6 o'clock across the street at the police training room.
Thank you. All right, questions and comments, agenda related, anybody in the audience have anything? Bonnie? I knew she was waiting to talk to us here.
I just have an attaboy to give to John Carr through Dan, if you would. He made room for us in the corridor there. He extended our pictures for our Citizen of the Year because we ran out of room. And somehow, through his artistic carpentry skills, he made room for an extra 10 pictures. So we always think of municipal services as plowing and, you know, water leaks and so forth, but you have a talented carpenter there because he's made room for 10 more Citizen of the Years. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Bonnie. Takes us to old business, there being none. Takes us to the consent agenda, there being none. We go to new business. Item A, consideration of motion to approve a resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into a contract for the purchase of electricity from the lowest cost electricity provider for the purposes of commercial accounts through the Northern Illinois Municipal Electric Collaborative bid process. Motion to approve. Alderwoman Sullivan, seconded by Alderman Stompanato. Any questions?
Is this a decision then that the residents will need to make?
No, this is only for our pumping stations and not our street lights, but our stoplights, the couple of those we
Okay,
have.
okay.
So it's just for us and.
Just for,
Yeah, and the bids go with a number of municipalities that also have the open bid dates, the same as us, yes.
okay,
It is different from the electrical aggregation program.
Okay.
That's the residential
yeah,
program.
that's what I was questioning.
Anything else? If not, the roll.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item A has been approved. Item B, consideration of motion to approve a contract between the Windy City Amusement Incorporated and the City of Darien to provide amusement rides for a Memorial Day weekend carnival at Chestnut Court Shopping Center from May 22nd to May 25th, 2026. Motion to approve. Alderman Shower, seconded by Alderman Kenny. And again, any questions or comments?
Mayor, I'm sorry, one comment. We don't have it in the packet, but we do have an email confirming that we can use the facility or the site for the carnival. It's just not in the packet.
Anything else? If not, the roll.
Shower.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item B has been approved. Takes us to questions, comments, and announcements of a general nature. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share with the council? I would simply like to reiterate what Mary said. My hope is that we had a wonderful turnout for our Citizen of the Year banquet. This is one of the highlights of our year. We have an individual who has given of herself to our community, and it is, I think, our responsibility to honor her properly that night by our attendance at this banquet, and you can't beat the cost. $52 for a 7-course meal and 3 hours open bar with a great DJ, 4 hours open bar.
And wine on the table.
With a great DJ, dancing. It's gonna be a fun night. And Bonnie and I have promised to keep my comments down to a minimum, so you won't be hearing me talk a lot that night, right, Bon?
Bravo.
If he goes off script, he gets the
She's got the hook. She's gonna pull me off.
Municipal services will be there pulling them off.
Okay.
Anything else? If none, not the motion to adjourn. Alderwoman Sullivan, second by Alderman Shower, all in favor.
Aye.
We are adjourned, ladies and gentlemen.
Great. See you guys tomorrow.